Welcome back, everyone, to the Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast. Today, we're super excited to have on the show a few Google Ad experts. Now, we haven't had any Google Ad experts on here, so I'm very excited to talk to these guys. Today, we have on Jake Hundley and Cody C. of Evergrow Marketing. Jake has been featured in Lawn and Landscape magazine, has even written articles for the magazine. So, we welcome you guys. Appreciate you taking the time to be on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yep. Thanks.
You guys mind sharing a little bit about your company, Evergrow Marketing, and a little bit of what you're about and what you guys do?
Yeah, so we're a digital marketing and web development company for landscaping and lawn care businesses, specifically for the green industry. And we primarily focus on search engine traffic versus, like social or email or other things like that, because we found the best results with those for the money. But yeah, we added website development because we found that you can't drive good traffic to a website that's poor.
Sure.
And so that's kind of our stack there.
Sure. I think that's really cool that you guys just kind of really work mostly with lawn and landscaping, or not lawn, basically, I can't talk today, lawn and landscape magazine. So I think it's really cool that you guys work with just landscapers and stuff in particular. That's a really cool niche. And how's that been working out for you guys?
Yeah, really good. We've had, I think we started in the beginning, just kind of taking any lawn and landscape company, from just like mowing and maintenance companies to actual lawn care and then like landscaping. And we weren't sure at first how well it was going to go, and then it wasn't until about 2019 actually, where it started to almost kind of explode. And once we got our names out there, especially in like Turf Magazine and Lawn and Landscape and Green Industry Pros, that's kind of when we really started to realize the market potential. And then also it just makes it really easy for us to launch successful campaigns immediately, because we already know the industry, we already know the keywords, we already know how to design a lawn and landscaping website.
Sweet. Very cool. Very cool. So you mind discussing, because we talked a little bit before the show and we talked about Google ads versus Facebook ads. And I know you guys much favor Google ads than Facebook ads. You mind sharing why and the reason behind all that?
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons actually, but I'll actually defer to Cody on this one, since he's our ad expert.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it's 50-50. Some of it is either platform can work and either one can generate leads for your business. There's no doubt with that. Personally, we know more about Google ads. So there's that part, in that, well, we just know more and we can make it work better. But the other thing is, from a management standpoint, is that in order to keep Facebook ads working well and continuously, there's more time investment that goes into managing it, which means we have to charge more. So if we can, I mean, the most basic way to look at it is, if you make a good ad on Google, people are searching for it, right? So they search for a landscaping business in your area, they see the ad. Most people aren't going to search for that multiple times. So if you write one good ad, they'll see it and then it works, and you can just keep running it. On Facebook, you're hitting the same people multiple times, depending on how you're targeting. So you need to swap out creative more often. So there's, cost that goes into that too.
Mm-hmm. No, actually, I was talking to Jake about this too. He said that usually when people are like looking for landscaping, they're going to Google and they're searching in for local or landscaper near me or whatever they're searching for. Is that what you're finding more with that versus the Facebook ads?
Yeah. I mean, there's kind of two kinds of marketing, right? You have search-based, which is just inbound. This whole idea of people are looking for you actively, and you want to make the most of that, because well, they're very clearly in market for your service. And then you have more disruptive marketing, more where people aren't necessarily looking for you, but you're trying to catch their attention. And there are ways that you can tell that their signals say, hey, we're interested, but nothing beats when people are specifically searching for you. So when you're doing that disruptive marketing, it's harder, and it takes a different strategy.
And
Gotcha.
it's worth it to point out too that when someone's looking for a landscaping or lawn care service and they're in market, they typically know how much your services cost, and they've done their research, or if they haven't, they are doing their research. Um, and just because they look up a bunch of different landscapers in their area, it doesn't necessarily mean they looked up what's the average cost of this kind of landscaping project as well. So if you're doing what Cody said, that disruptive marketing, especially on social media, maybe they're in market based off of how you can target on Facebook, but they're not necessarily looking to buy, and that's a huge differentiation. And if they're not looking to buy, if someone gets served with a lawn care ad, for instance, and like, oh, I'd love for somebody to take care of my lawn, and then they reach out and they realize, oh, it's actually quite a bit. Like, it's actually not super affordable to what I was thinking. So while Facebook and social media platforms can generate a lot of leads, quality of the leads is very low compared to someone who's actually doing the research.
Gotcha. And you also mentioned too the diminishing returns on ads. You want to share a little bit?
Yeah. With Google specifically, we run into this problem a lot where people will come to us and they'll say, we have to spend more money. Like, we have to spend more money on ads specifically. And we'll say, no, you don't. I don't know who's been telling you a lot of this stuff, but the way that Google works is different than a lot of other advertising things. So just take door hangers or yard signs, for example. They're a fixed cost. Whatever they cost, it costs the same for, I mean, not exactly, but pretty close, right? If you want to print 1,000 or 5,000, it's not an auction like Google is, but Google is an auction. So the more that you want to get, you're going up against these other advertisers. So you have to pay more to get those more expensive clicks. If you want to get like 100% market share, it's going to keep going up in cost. And we find that there's diminishing return. There's a point where we hit where, clicks go over $10, $20. If you want 100% of your market share, you'll pay over $30 a click. And that's a click, right? I mean,
Yeah.
It's not a lead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how are you using that to kind of benefit people with Google Ads and get the leads?
Yeah, we mostly focus on cost per lead, right? Is the main thing, is just getting feedback and saying, okay, what's a lead worth to you? How much is it? How much do you want to pay for one? And what's its value? Because if you want market share, we can keep spending your money, but the cost per acquisition is going to keep going up. You might pay, $200 per lead as we go up, and then you just have to kind of determine where's the cutoff point. Where's it worth it for you, and where's it not?
Yeah, we got a lot of clients saying that, like Cody said, they want to spend more money in Google Ads. Where it's saying, like, if they're only spending $150 to $200 in Google Ads and say, I want to put another $100 in or another $150 in for the spring, we've got to share to them that, like, look, we can add more budget to your Google Ads. That's not a problem at all. In fact, we don't even make money off of adding Google ad budget to your ad spend. Professional advice, we would advise it not to do that, because they could already be at their let's say, I'll use this term, but they could be at their max market share as far as deliverability on their ads, or at really high market share. We call that impression share. Once you start hitting that top level, instead of getting more clicks, as you might think, Google may essentially just raise your cost per click. And it's one of those ways where you're raising your cost per click, but you're also kind of raising, like, your competitor's cost per click too. And it's really fighting for those top spots that you want. And at the end of the day, that's where you have your diminishing returns, which is like, we can budget this much for Google Ads, but if we do that, you're actually going to for a lead. And we focus on ROI and not just dominating your market, because companies that just want to dominate their market are they're the Bright Views and the True Greens of the world, and they don't really need to, but they do because they have the money.
Sure. Now, you mentioned that you ask the landscapers, how much they want to spend per lead. Do you find it hard, or do the landscapers find it hard to give you a number on that? And do you have a way to get that out and figure that out for them?
Yeah, it's a it's a hard number for anybody to come up with, really. I mean, you really have to understand your lifetime value of a customer, and I know that's kind of like a buzzword that I hate hearing, but it's a real number. It's
Mhm.
if you were to sign a customer today on your maybe like a good performing service with a high margin, how long does that customer typically stay with you? And there are a lot of tools that you can use to determine this. One, you can manually do it in an Excel sheet. That's what Cody and I do. The other thing you can do is you can have CRMs that are dedicated to this. Um, and once you know how much a customer is actually worth to you, the profit that they generate, then you can make your own decisions on how much you'd be willing to hand someone money in order to get that customer. Um, but you have to take in two things into consideration. The first thing you have to take into consideration is your cost per acquisition. How much does it cost to actually get that customer or get that lead? That's your CPA. The second thing is your customer acquisition cost, your CAC. That's how much does it cost to actually make that lead a customer. And once you factor those two things in and you subtract that from the gross margin of your of the new customer and their lifetime that they're going to stay with you, then you can figure out how much you're willing to pay for a lead. However, that's a little complicated and complex. And I don't think we've actually ever gotten that number from a
Yeah,
client.
yeah. I'd say like there's a lot of gauging what's good from determining what's bad, right? we
Yeah.
uh, well, if we look at other accounts too, where we've seen people have like a cost per lead of $400 on Google Ads, and we're like, okay, that's high, right?
Yeah.
So we're pretty confident we could beat that.
Mhm.
So some of it's just frame of reference and knowing, okay, what are you currently getting? We can do better. Um, yeah, but in general, it's hard to completely narrow it down, but at least having some idea. Otherwise, we run into that situation of, well, if you don't know what success is, we don't know how to deliver it for you.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's different levels too. Like if you're looking at a lawn maintenance company, their cost per acquisition, their cost per lead has to be low because their margin is low. Lawn care is a little better. You can have a little higher cost per lead because they have a lot higher margins with first spreads and their programs. But then you get to landscaping and hardscaping, and now your cost per acquisition is a lot higher. You can be willing to pay $100 a lead because your margins are a lot higher on your projects. That doesn't necessarily mean $100 per lead is a target for those. I mean, our general rule of thumb is we like to beat HomeAdvisor, and like if we can beat HomeAdvisor, then we are 100 times better than HomeAdvisor or even if we can match their numbers, because if HomeAdvisor charges you $20 a lead or 10 to $20 a lead, for instance, that's not just your lead. That's everybody else's in your market's lead.
Yeah.
And you're getting charged whether or not, you really communicate them with a knife. You accept it. I mean,
And
it
it's
is
not
what it is.
necessarily real time, right? I mean, we track these things as they happen, right? We're like, hey, you got to call right now.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're reselling something, I can't remember. There's a study that went out probably a year ago at this point, but it talks about how quickly you need to respond and how quickly people drop off the longer you wait to get back to them.
Yeah, that's something I see in the industry all over. Like, not even just in landscaping and general contracting, people don't get back to customers, and it's terrible. Like, you got to get them; they're hot right then. That's when you need to talk to them. So
I think that's almost every industry, to be honest. Like I know it's really prevalent in like the home service industry, like with contractors. But even like I take calls all the time where it's like, hey, you're the only guys to call us back. Like the only marketing agency to call you back. I'm like, wow. That, I think that's one of the big things, just to beat your competition out. Really, is just call people back.
it is, and it's so simple. Like it's kind of a no brainer. And I think people just kind of don't really think about that being that important, but it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
Now, do you find that when customer comes to you, looking for an expert in this, they try telling you what to do and how to run things, or do you get some pushback on?
Yeah, we've had a couple of customers do that, and a couple of customers who used to do marketing in the past, to where I say like we ultimately know what's best, but they know just enough to maybe be an issue to where look, we do it. We build this business based off of what works and what we know works. So it's best if you just let us do our job. Obviously, we love feedback. We love hearing like hey, I know there are higher searches from this city, but we have higher quality customers from this city, and this is where we want to target. And that goes against the grain of what digital marketing essentially is. However, if it's going to result in our client getting more profit, then we're going to do that. But there are issues where, like we talked about earlier, where they want to increase ad spend. It's like, look, we can, but this is what it's going to do. We can't just say we're going to pump more money into it and get more results. Your results typically just cost more. But what we need to do is we need to look at your ads account, and we need to make sure that we have the room to move before we say, yes, let's pump more money into this. The second thing too is clients wanting to, like, if fall is rolling around, and since we specialize in search engine, it's based off of what the market is searching for. So a client might come to us and say, I want to put money, I want to focus or target on fall landscape cleanup, or maybe they want to trim trees in the fall, and they say this is the best time for us to do it. It's like, look, it's not, Google Ads isn't just like targeting something like social media is, where you can push something to people. It's an attraction marketing method. So it's what people are looking for. If people aren't looking for fall landscape cleanup, it doesn't matter how much money we throw at it. It's not going to get you more leads.
Sure.
And those are the main pushbacks that we get as far as deliverabilities of assets that we're currently doing.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'd add too is like, we started growing the most when we niched down and said we're not going to do everything for everybody anymore, right? we're gonna hone in on what we know works. We made this. It's a box. It's not flexible. It doesn't stretch very well, but for the right people, we know that this will sell like hotcakes because it's amazing. So when we pushed back and said, if this doesn't work for you, that's fine. This isn't a solution for everybody, but for the right people, we know that this works very well.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, it sounds like mainly just educating the customer on it, and your ways of doing things, and how you guys are the experts. It's the same thing when we sell to a customer. When we sell landscape work, we need to educate them. So
yep.
Same
that's like some guys will come to us and tell us that, like, hey, I want to do this, and this, and I want to put this much money into all this. And first question is like, well, then why are you hiring us? Like, if you know already how you want to market and know how much money you want to put into it, then why don't you just do it yourself? And that's not just me being kind of asinine and just saying that because I don't want them to think that they're smarter than us or better than us. It's me saying that because we have built this system that works. And if you are expecting a content distribution plan on social media, or if you're expecting some kind of email blast campaign, then we're only going to disappoint you, because we focus on ROI, and those mediums don't have a lot of ROI compared to search engines. So if you're not dominating search engines right now, like if you're not maxing your budget out, and if you're not just absolutely crushing it and coming on top every time, then there isn't a whole lot of reason, at least in our eyes, to move to those other mediums yet, because that's when you start getting to those diminishing returns.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You max out the bottom of the funnel before you move up, right? I mean, you got those people there, so make the most of them before you try to persuade anybody or convince them.
Sure. Do you find a lot of people want to like mimic other companies' ads and kind of do what they're doing, and kind of looking at the competition? I guess
I see that with website builds. If a client has an old, like, antiquated website, or they don't have one, they'll send me some links of some competitors, and like, hey, I like some of these things on their website. And typically they're things that I hate, like sliders and just other like fancy stuff that like are one, not only not used by anybody anymore, like nobody uses sliders anymore, and it's proven. And in fact, having sliders can actually hurt your SEO if they make people stop looking at them, or they also add a bunch of just bloated code to your site that you don't need, and nobody clicks through them, so why have it? But there's a lot of things that, like, hey, like they like something about it, and then I'll consult with them and say, hey, this is why I don't prefer it, but we can do this in your site. Just know that my advice was not to do this. I think we actually just had that with a client recently in like November. They wanted to have their testimonials on a slider. I was like, I don't want to do that. Here's why. And then not that we couldn't, we absolutely could. But after I explained it to her, she was like, yeah, absolutely, yeah, let's just do it whatever way it works best, for our marketing, and then we'll go from there. Cody, do you have experience with people trying to tell you how to write your ads?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. Sometimes it's they've got ideas for the kind of messaging that they want to promote, and a lot of times I'll say, okay, yeah, I mean, whatever. Let's test it though. Is the thing that it comes down to is like, let's run it against what we currently have going. If it beats it, awesome. Like I'm not my ego isn't that big that I'm gonna say every ad I write is amazing and better than everybody else's. So if we can write something, launch it, and then it does better, then cool, let's do it.
Sure.
A lot of what ends up happening though is that like click-through rate will go up a lot because the type of messaging that a client wants to promote is more enticing, more attractive, but it doesn't convert as well. And that's something that we balance, is knowing that, well, okay, this message might be boring, but the people who click on it turn into a lead. So that's kind of why we message things the way that we do, to pre-qualify people and say, okay, look, if you're looking for something flashy, that's not our guys. So go click on one of the other ads and waste their money. But the clicks that we get, they convert really well. So that's why the messaging works.
Sure. Well, that's where you guys know your craft and know what to do. That's where the benefit of hiring an expert comes into play. It's the same as the landscaping industry. We don't expect our customers to know how to build a hardscape wall or a pergola or a fire pit or anything like that. So it's same process.
Yeah.
Actually, on the process, you guys mind sharing a little bit about your process that you guys use? And
Yeah, absolutely. So typically, we've actually never once reached out to a landscaping or lawn care company for sales or promoting us or anything like that at all. Since our inception in 2018, we 100% of our clients have come to us, have found us somehow. And so when they do, we try to set the right expectations on our website about what we do. And they come to us and say, we need help with digital marketing, or we need help with a new website, and to be able to market it. And it's typically pretty general like that, which is great, because now I can tell you, okay, well, we have a solution and it's going to get you an ROI. But if we have a couple different options here. So if a client comes to us and they have no website and no marketing, we start with a website build. We say, okay, well, what we need to do is we need to build you a website that performs well on its own, even without marketing services. So we'll build a website from the ground up and make sure that when it launches, it is already essentially optimized for that specific moment in time. But we'll talk with the client and we'll say, hey, here's essentially an onboarding document. We need you to fill this out. It is literally everything there is to know about your business, and then your services, and then how we need to write the content on your site. And then once that's returned to us, we'll build the site. It takes about 30 to 45 days, depending on the season. Winter, we are just slammed with work. And so that's more like kind of like the 45-day end. And once we're ready to launch, we have these pre-built marketing packages that include SEO, so organic search engine ranking for your website on a monthly basis. And then it also includes Google Ads. And in that package, we include $100 in Google Ads, so we don't try to tack on additional cost to that. And like, for instance, our first package is just $600 a month. So at $600 a month, we just run your campaigns on a monthly basis, and within like the second or third month, you actually start seeing your results. But it's with our clients that have been with us for a year, where we can see year-over-year results versus just like month-over-month. That's when things start to really start to notice, like, holy crap, My website traffic is up 300%. My leads are up 400% from last year. And but yeah, we combine those two things. We don't separate them out because we believe if you're going to run ads, you need to have good landing pages for those ads to land to. Also, the quality of the page that the ad directs to really affects your ranking of your ad, whether you're on the first spot of your ad or you're on the fifth spot on the first page. And then as far as SEO takes time. If we launch a brand new site, you're not going to get leads right away. You're not going to get leads within the first month. You might not get leads in the second month. Google isn't just going to take a new website and just say, yep, this site's legitimate. Let's rank it super high. It needs to know that the site has authority, that people care about what's on the site, and that people actually, create or actually engage with your site, whether it's, filling out a form or actually spending time on it. So what the ads are there are to help you get leads quicker within those first 2 months, because we're automatically pushing ads to the first page. And then from there, we tell our clients like, hey, we're month to month. We don't lock you into a contract, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence every month, and that we don't just kind of get lazy and say, well, they're signed on for a year, we can deal with this, at the end of the year. So if we always say, look, if you're getting the results that you want to get, if you're happy with us, then we'll keep going. If you're not, let us know. We can either have a talk about it and remedy it, or we can just say, yeah, sure, we'll shut everything off and send you your final invoice.
Sure. Do you work with people just with websites and just for Google Ads, or do you prefer to do it all a package? I mean, I understand it's beneficial to do everything, but
yeah, we do everything as a package.
Okay.
Some guys would say, I just want somebody to run our Google Ads. Actually, there was somebody in, I think it might have been in Landscaping Business Owners, and he goes, I'm looking. I mean, he was in New Zealand, which would be cool to have a New Zealand client, but he's like, yeah. I was like, so I kind of told him he's looking for someone to do their SEO, maybe like a new website build, and I was like, hey, here's what we do. And he goes, I already have somebody running my Google, or I already have someone doing my SEO. So he need Google Ads. And then he's like, I was just looking for somebody to run my ads. And I just said, well, we're probably not the guys for you then. We do them both, and we don't segment our services out. But there are guys who do, they will throttle their Google Ads back. Like, let's say like the winter hits, they'll just pull that ad spend back. And not want to spend that in the winter, which is fine. We don't recommend it, but
Sure.
it's something they can do.
Sure. And I would assume you guys would kind of rotate ads as the season goes through. You obviously find out what the services they provide and kind of change those up.
That's a good point. That's actually a point that our clients bring up to us about rotating ads out. I'll let Cody speak to that since he has
Yeah, I
a
mean,
little bit.
yeah. So part of it is that since Google is demand based, you don't actually have to. If people are searching for it, you show up, and if they're not searching for it, then you don't show up. Is yeah, this will go pretty deep here, but the way that our ads work is we don't really have. Okay, most people don't click on ads. It's the truth, right? If you look at total numbers, most people are going to click on the organic, SEO listings beneath it. So if people are clicking on ads, you have to target things that are pretty high volume in order to actually get those clicks. So we focus on individual services mostly with SEO. And then we go for the big keywords, just general, landscaping in my city, landscaping business near me, things like that in our core campaigns. And then the reason why we can make it work right off the bat is because we get to take all of the data that we have across all of our accounts and roll it together. And no individual company will ever be able to do this because they'll never get as much volume as we do. We have so much data that they'll never be able to get. And it's not their fault. There's nothing they can do about it. It's just that's the advantage of us running in so many markets and in so many places. So yeah, I mean, the way that we do ads is we'll run tests in an individual account. We'll take that success and we'll roll it out across across the board. And because of that, we're able to test faster. see what messaging works, and it does vary a little bit from client to client. But for the things that we know are applicable to everybody, that's why we're able to crush it so quickly.
Nice. That sounds very cool. No, I appreciate you guys sharing all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I learned today. Like I don't even know half the stuff you guys are.
There's something that we found out on accident too. Recently, we that we kind of want to test now, but we left our client's name out of the title of their Google ad, and they started getting calls for people looking for their competitors, and they started selling them too. And so we're like, we don't even have to target our competitor's name. We just gotta perform better than their ad, which we typically do, and then just take their name out of the title.
Wow, that's interesting.
So small things like that are things that we test, and then we go, wow, this actually works. If our clients want to set up a conquesting campaign, we just create an ad group and remove the name from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's lots of small things like that. Yeah, I think probably one of the bigger things is just we don't drink the Google Kool-Aid. We don't buy their propaganda. They're huge, and they have a lot of people telling a lot of things, and it's really easy to just believe it, because they're so big, because they're able to push things so quickly, and it's incentivized, right? If you believe it, and if you do these things, then Google will reward you. But we just don't buy it. We test things ourselves. We see what works for our clients because that's who we serve first. I mean, Google's not writing us checks, so we don't really care about their opinion.
Yeah. No, the one thing I see, like even in our Facebook group, the Landscape Business Owners Facebook group, we get so many digital marketers trying to come in, and like I try to like keep out, like I try to get people that are just kind of niched down like you guys, and only keep certain people in there because it's so, I don't know, there's so many people out there. And do you have any advice on like how to seek out somebody like yourselves, or questions they should be asking when they're looking for somebody?
If their name is Evergrow Marketing, then they're good. It's tough. So it's really, I hate saying this. I hate saying, let me see examples of your work, and the only reason why I hate saying that or having people say that is because we started out somewhere. We didn't have examples of our work. And, but I think if a company is honest about, hey, like I'm fairly new to this, and I can do it at a discounted rate or something like that, like, maybe give them a shot. And it's tough. Like, because one of the reasons that we got into this industry is because we realized that there was a lot of business owners being taken advantage of, just kind of out of ignorance. They don't really know a lot of the digital world. And I know there's some of your listeners listening who are in landscaping who do know the digital world. There are, but for the vast majority, a lot of them don't understand Google Ads or how they work, and a lot of them think they're too expensive to run. It's important. If the first thing is, if anybody promises anything, don't go with them. They're bad. If they promise we'll get you to the front page, we'll get you ranking number one. First of all, that's kind of a watered down statement anyways, because when you say, yeah, I'm ranking on the first page, well, what are you ranking for? Are you ranking for landscaping near me? Are you ranking for hardscape, retaining walls? Are you, like, it depends on what keyword you're ranking for and what you're pushing for. So false promises are a big red flag for me. Also, if you just go to their website and it looks like garbage and you don't like it, then maybe that's a sign too. Cody, did you have any tips?
Honestly, no. It just sucks. I mean, I feel bad. I feel bad for any company out there that's trying to find a decent marketing company, because it's, I mean, I feel like a snake oil salesman, right? Because, and fortunately, it's mostly Jake that does the sales stuff. I mostly hang out in the background, which is good because I'm incapable of really holding back with a lot of this stuff. And it makes me mad when they say, you got to spend at least, $1,000 on Google Ads if you want to get anything. It's just not true. So unfortunately, no, I mean, probably whatever Jake says ultimately with determining agency, because he's the guy who helps them pick us.
We spend $100 on Google Ads for our clients, and we beat out their competitors spending thousands. again, it's ROI focused. We're not here to beat your competitor. We're here to get you money.
Sure.
And when Cody says I do a lot of the sales too, and maybe that's another topic too, is if someone's overly salesy, overly excited, or something like that, I would be wary. When you guys call me and they talk to me and say, hey, here's what we offer. If that's not what you're looking for, that's fine. But this is what we do, and we're good at it, and we're confident in what we do. But yeah, I think those guys who post like a lot of videos of them like just being like over exuberantly excited or something like that, like I tend to stay away from. I would.
Yeah. I guess that's a good point. Of if the guys promoting the most, who are the guys not doing anything because they're probably slammed with work, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
If they've got all this time to be working on some of that stuff. And to be fair, we do our best to prioritize it. I know we just spent a ton of time working on a blog post about benchmarks for the industry. So if people don't know what they should expect with website metrics or what they should expect for Google Ads, we wanted to make sure we put that out there. But yeah, we honestly we just haven't been the best at it because we've been so slammed. So
yeah, I think it was like 8 or 9 months since we posted our last blog, but we even posted a post about how to effectively run Google Ads, or how we do it, and then like you can follow this kind of outline for running your own ad campaign.
You guys have a lot of great stuff on your blog post. I was reading it yesterday.
Thank you.
There's a lot of great information on there.
Thank you.
I'll have all that in the comments section or the description of the show, and
thanks.
Push all that.
Yeah. We try to do about 1,500 words a post. We try to be as descriptive as possible. Our philosophy is if someone wants to do it themselves, they're going to do it themselves, whether they get the information from us or not. So we'll just put it out there. We'll keep a couple secrets to ourselves.
Sure.
But it's the same thing with your clients. If they want to build a retaining wall, they're going to build it themselves, whether they get the information from you or not. And that's kind of our instructions for guiding our clients on how to think of blog post topics.
Those are two different customers anyway, right? I mean, the guys that are going to build their own retaining walls versus the ones that are going to hire you. Like, there's a clear difference.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't say they're going to do it right. I just said they're going to do it regardless.
They'll come back later and fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I appreciate you guys taking on time to be on the show today. You mind sharing how people can get hold of you and find out a little more about you?
Yeah. So our website is evergrowmarketing.com, just all one word. And there on a contact page, we've got a contact form. You can just fill it out, tell us what you're looking for, or you can call us or call me on my phone, which is on the website. It's just 913-300-0902. Or you can email me directly at jake@evergrowmarketing.com.
Awesome. A lot of great information here, guys, and like there's a lot of lack of knowledge, like you said, in the industry about Google Ads and even Facebook ads. But I think you guys shared a lot of information and help landscapers. So
yeah,
happy to help.
We just scratched the surface. So if you want to know more, let us know.
That's right. All right. Well, I got a couple pod deck questions for you guys.
Perfect.
So I told you they won't be anything embarrassing. I hope not. So you guys can choose whoever answers however you want to do it. But what would be your best day ever?
Like hypothetically, or a thing that's
Sure.
already happened?
Hypothetically.
Okay, hypothetically. Cody, you go first. I have no idea.
I'm a very uneventful person, so largely doing nothing and without people. I'm a hardcore introvert, which is why I hang out in the background and Jake does most of the communication, but I crunch the numbers in Google Ads and that stuff. So honestly, something at home probably,
Nice.
and yeah, by myself.
Nice.
I run a lot. I do like a lot of triathlons and stuff like that. So I think my best day ever would probably be the moment I completed an Ironman triathlon.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, training for it.
Nice. You're a paintballer too, right?
I am. Wait, how did you know? Did you look at my Facebook?
Yeah. Well, my son just joined a team. He just joined a league here
yeah.
recently, so he's
Actually,
awesome.
in October last year, we just got second place at a tournament in
That's
Illinois.
awesome.
So yeah, I've paintballed since 2010, I think.
That's cool.
So,
I used to be in it a long time ago, probably about 20 years ago. I used to play in some leagues, but it's all different now than it was back then. But it's
where
cool.
are you located?
We're in Northwest Indiana, just out of Chicago.
Oh, so
So
does your son play at like PB Explosion or
yeah,
yeah, okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Next time I'm
yeah,
in the area going to PB Explosion, maybe I'll hit you up.
yeah. There
Show
you
you
go.
son a thing or two.
Yeah, that'll work. That'd be awesome. Yeah, my kid was going off like he saw your picture. He's like, "Oh, that's so and so. That's so and so." I'm like, I don't know who these people
Yeah.
are. But all right. What's the worst job you ever had?
This is
Cody,
brutal.
do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've told people don't even believe this now at this point, and it makes me mad. But I'd say it was tied for two. I worked third shift at Walmart, and that was brutal for me.
Yeah.
Just the stuff that it does to your mindset. It was hard to keep positive and keep, But I was a sample guy at Sam's Club too. That was a step up though, because they paid me more there with that at least.
Yeah,
But
there
no,
you go.
both of those were, yeah. But no, it was brutal. It's hard to stay positive with something like that.
Sure.
Uh, I worked at a marketing agency with Cody. It's actually how we met back in 2015. And that was pretty bad. Not because of the work. I love the work we did. It was putting in 15 hours a day. And it was just very high intensity and not a lot of reward. And it was just very draining. And in fact, we did our own thing because we believed we could do it better. And so far we are.
Yeah.
But I would say more recently it was a job I had working for an industrial process solutions company. And we sold and distributed manufacturing equipment, specifically weighing devices. And it wasn't hard because it was like difficult, or I was just kind of unhappy. Like I didn't want to do it, and I was there for 4 years and mentally taxing. I had Evergrow on the mind all the time, and but that was it. Yeah. Nothing too bad from my end. Maybe it's probably more difficult for Cody.
Yeah, that's all right. Everybody starts somewhere, does something. All right, last one. What's your guilty pleasure?
Jake?
Cody go.
Can I just purely say candy? Like I eat so much candy, it's a problem. My girlfriend actually, we have a joke now. She gives me rations of candy. Like she's like, okay, this is how much candy you can have for a short while. Otherwise, it's out of control. And yeah, it's
Here's
the
2 pieces
dentist
for the day.
knows. Yeah, they know. They know about me at the dentist, so I can't hide there.
Can I say like really fruity alcoholic drinks? Like I'm a gin martini guy, but like every now and then I'll get something like kind of fruity or tasty, like as long as the guys aren't looking. And other than that, paintball.
Nice.
I usually don't tell people I play paintball. It's kind of embarrassing.
It's not. That's all right. It's a cool game.
I think people get the wrong image in their head. I think they think I'm like dressing up like some kind of military person and like going in the woods or something. Like that's not it.
We actually, when I worked for my dad, we would Friday nights or Friday afternoons after we get back, we'd all go on the back and play paintball and for a couple hours, just the cruise.
That's fun. Yeah.
Blow
It's
off some
fun.
steam.
And then when you get into like tournament paintball, like speedball, like that's when you're on a whole nother level there.
Yeah, no, that's cool. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you being on here today. Anything you'd like to add?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Just make sure you understand that Google Ads isn't a bad platform. It's fantastic, but it's really easy to waste a lot of money if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. True advice there. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Scott. You too.